want to make a little bit of a distinction here. I think there's some segment of the Jewish population that it's very much there's like a theological belief that will always be in conflict with the nations, right? Now, this is not this is a minority of American Jews. The majority of American Jews are secular, many of whom are atheists. What they're learning is very much it's not realistic to say don't tell your children about what happened to their grandparents, right? We're just a few generations from the Holocaust. So, for example, I wasn't raised a victim in any way, shape, or form, but I know that my grandmother was taken away from her family at the age of 4, and she didn't, and her entire family she never saw again, aside from her mom and her sister. But her father, her brothers, her uncles, gone, never to be seen again. I wasn't taught that I need to live my life in fear, but this is very much a part of my upbringing because it's my grandmother's experience, and this is true for most Jews. They have family members who are affected, so it's very natural for this to be part of our upbringing. It's not like there's something innately malicious about it or comes from a bad intent. I think we learn about we learn about the history of our people. What that results in, I think there's an interesting conversation here. I think in the United States, primarily, there's being a victim has really become popular, right? There's nothing gives you more social legitimacy than being victimized, and the more victimized you are, the more legitimacy you have. And in fact, today in modern politics, Jews are not considered oppressed, and they don't get nearly as many victim points as if you're a person of color, if you're trans, if you're a woman. These are the primary victim categories. But I do agree that there is on both sides, whether you're Jewish or whether you subscribe to like what is known to be woke social justice, there very much is this like emphasis on being a victim because culturally and socially it seems to give you more credibility and more legitimacy. I just don't really see this much of a Jewish issue as much as like a woke politics and the culture they're bringing forth and the incentives they put behind being a victim. And I think just one more note on Jewish victimhood. I think Jews are interesting because I don't deny that there's certainly too much victim mentality in the Jewish community. I speak to my Jewish friends about this, but we're also to the point where we're not victims to the point where it's disempowering, right? Because Jews are highly successful. So even with like some of the fear that we may have, it's not like we're very much not in the opinion of we are hopeless. There's nothing we could do. The state needs to come in and save us. It's very much, okay, we might not be able to trust the nation we live in, but we know that we have the means to rise up and accomplish great things in life. So I think that one of my greatest concerns with victim mentality is that it truly is disempowering for those who believe they're victims. And I think actually in the instance of Jews with their victim mentality, it's less disempowering for them than it is for other groups. But this speaks to the grievances of anti-Semites. It's that they don't trust the nation. So what does it mean? And I think we're really getting here to the crux of where a lot of this anti-Jewish sentiment comes from. You have this small population who are highly overrepresented in industries of influence, whether it's media, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's finance, whether it's politics. So what does it mean when you have this small ethnic group that's overrepresented in positions of influence who may not support the state to the same extent as the average individual?